Nightswim, a 2024 American supernatural horror movie about a swimming pool that kills you. The movie is based on a 2014 short horror film, but did this brand new feature-length version live up to expectations, or did the movie just sink all the way to the bottom? Be warned, there will be spoilers in this video. Get yourselves tucked up as I take a look at Nightswim. Nightswim follows a family who move into a new house with a very large empty swimming pool. What they don't know is many years ago a young girl was killed by something paranormal in the pool. When the family clean up the pool and disturb some disgusting grey-black goo from underneath, unusual things start to happen. Father of the family, Ray, suffers with MS, and early on in the film it's looking like that his condition is getting worse. But after the swimming pool is restored and Ray goes in for a dip, his condition starts to improve, which even shocks the doctors. Is this a magical swimming pool with magical water? Well, it kind of is, but it also kind of isn't. Put it this way, whatever it is, it comes at a price. As the film progresses, we have a couple of spooky scenes where Elliot, the little boy, hears a little girl's voice coming from the swimming pool's drainage system, and some demonic thing popping up in the water and scaring Izzy, the daughter. Even Eve, the mum, is starting to realise that something isn't quite right with this swimming pool. And after Eve learns about the little girl who drowned many years before they moved in, Eve does even more investigating and is horrified by what she discovers. Turns out that something demonic in the water is willing to make Ray better again, but in return it needs a sacrifice, and in this case it's going to be son Elliot. Eventually Ray becomes possessed by this demonic energy thing and is completely taken over, and even he tries to kill some of his family members towards the end of the movie because, I mean, why not? And it's also very similar to the Amityville horror. Let's start with the positives. Okay, the opening scene in this movie is amazing. This is where we actually see what happens to that little girl who is called Rebecca in the swimming pool. She is killed in this opening scene before the titles appear, but what I loved about this scene is just the whole build-up and the atmosphere and the unknown. It felt very old school horror where they were making a simple thing like a swimming pool scary, a little bit like a Nightmare on Elm Street when they make the bed or the television scary. So I love what they did here, and when this opening scene played out I was really excited to see what the rest of the movie had installed for me. Unfortunately though, this is where the positives end, and I am now going to move on to my mixed thoughts. The whole story of this movie starts off well, and however, oh god, it's something that we've all seen. It's been done a million times before in other movies. The only difference is, this isn't about a haunted house where a demon is trying to possess a mother or father. This time it's just a swimming pool, but that's the only real difference. I think the first half of this movie is a lot better than the second half, and I will get onto the reasons in just a moment, but there are some really good moments where the son, he's in the swimming pool and then this hand grabs him from the drainage system, and I even, enjoyed the part where the daughter, she's in the swimming pool with her boyfriend in the evening and they're playing sort of like hide and seek but in the swimming pool with their eyes closed. These scenes did create a nice amount of intensity, but there just wasn't enough of them. Apart from those two moments and maybe one other little moment, the film pretty much feels like it's more of a family thriller rather than a horror, which is a shame because the opening scene makes you feel that you are in for a terrifying ride, and then the rest of the film just lets it down. A horror movie doesn't necessarily have to be super scary to be good, but there just isn't enough horror in the first half of this movie for me. The characters in the movie, they're okay, nobody really stands out for me, but nobody was really poor either. They all did a great job, but that's about that. Okay, on to my negatives now, and this is definitely going to outweigh any positives that I've already talked about. So, there is a family cat called Cider, and of course, they went there. They killed the cat, which really annoyed me. I didn't feel it was needed. Cider the cat was this gorgeous, beautiful cat, and he spent most of his time minding his own business. So many horror films these days, if there's a family pet involved, then you just know that the pet is going to meet a bloody end, whether if that is a cat or a dog. Once again, we've seen this so many times, and in this instance, I felt it was pointless, and it was also predictable, because as soon as I saw Cider, the cat, on the screen, I just knew it wasn't going to end well for him. Moving on to the third act, which I absolutely hated. So from the moment where Eve goes to visit Rebecca's mother, the whole movie just takes a bit of a nosedive for me, and it wasn't really on a very high moment at this stage anyway. It felt like a bit of a rip-off version of The Ring and the Amityville Horror. Now, Ray, he ends up getting possessed, and he does, his eyes turn black, and oh god, again, something that we've seen a million times before. And the whole final battle under the water, oh my goodness, I just found it completely ridiculous. There was way too much CGI that was used for the third act, which massively let it down for me. There's a moment where Elliot has been pulled down into the swimming pool and into the abyss, and then Mother Eve jumps in to try and save him. Bear in mind, they are both under the water for quite some time, and I'm talking, like 5 to 10 minutes or even longer. They both would have died, realistically. It just got very silly towards the end, with Ray fighting with his daughter, and then Eve and Elliot under the water for such a long, prolonged period of time. It felt like I was just watching a silly animation for the last 10-15 minutes. Also, the demon guy who pops up throughout the movie, he is literally just a total CGI animation, and I just hate it. A total letdown. CGI, as I've said many times, in my opinion, is a very lazy option, and it's pretty much all they used in the third act, which is why I said I preferred the first half of the movie to the second half. But I just hated the way the storyline went towards the end. I didn't think the whole possession part was needed. This could have been a fantastic movie with a fantastic story, but it just totally flops. In my opinion, what would have been better is if the demon guy wasn't CGI, and the whole story is just about this really bad, nasty, scary looking guy who comes for you in the middle of the night after you've swam in the swimming pool. It doesn't have to have any meaning or explanation or any kind of possession elements at all. But sadly, possession is used far too much in horror movies these days, and it's becoming really tiresome. It's just seeing the same thing over and over again. I really wanted this movie to be good because it had a promising opening scene, which is why I feel a little bit annoyed that the movie fell really flat. This will not be a movie that I'm going to rush out and rewatch anytime soon, if not ever. If you haven't already seen the movie, then I would probably wait for it to come onto streaming and save your money for the theatre when a better movie comes out. And I feel like a right bastard for saying this, but unfortunately, there's nothing else that I can say about this movie. I have to give my most honest review in these videos. Now, I am going to have to rate this movie a 3.5 out of 10, which in my opinion, I'm actually being a little bit generous, but I am going to give it a 3.5, but it still is one of my lowest scoring movies that I've ever given on this YouTube channel so far. So let's hear some of your thoughts. Have you watched Nightswim? What did you think of it? Do you agree with some of the points that I have raised? And is there anything else that you would like to add? Well, now is your opportunity. Let me know everything, guys, in the comments box below. Okay then, well, thank you all for watching today's video. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe out there, and I will see you all again very soon.